the first DIY, we're going to be making this floating mirrored shelf. For this, you're going to need 4 planks of wood, some E6000 glue, and a mirror. Make sure that each plank of wood measures to be the same length as each side of your mirror, so depending on whatever size mirror you're using. So I always like to set up what I'm doing before I'm using any type of really strong glue, so I'm just setting it up, just kind of getting a general idea of where I'm going to be gluing the wood planks. Then I'm going back in with my E6000 glue. This glue is really strong, but keep in mind it does take a couple hours to actually dry, so you want to go do something else in between. So I'm just adding a small amount onto the edge of my wooden plank and then gluing that to the outer or inner edge depending on what you need, what length you need for your mirror, if that makes sense. So once that's all dry, I set it on top of the mirror just to make sure it fit properly. And then I actually put the glue on top of it. It's really important that you do this step. So I put the glue on top and then I flipped it over onto my mirror, because if any of the glue seeps over, you want to make sure you get it off the mirror before it dries. So make sure you're doing it this way so you can exactly see how it's going to dry. Once you're all done, you can attach it to the wall using some mounting squares, and this is what your floating mirrored shelf is going to look like when it's all finished. Next, we're making this confetti tray that you can use to store just about anything. So for this, we're going to be needing a wooden plaque, some magic dimensional glue, and lastly, we're going to need some confetti, any color that you wish to use. So for this, you're going to start by taking your dimensional magic glue and just sprinkling a generous amount of that onto your wooden plaque. You're going to kind of want to move it around just so you get an even layer of that glue onto that wooden plaque. The next step after that is to go ahead and sprinkle some of your confetti on there. So you don't want to do too much because you do want to still have areas that don't have the confetti in it. That's like the cool part of the glue. So I went ahead and just pressed down that first layer of confetti on there, making sure that it was just laying a little bit flatter. And then you go in with your second layer of the dimensional magic glue. You want to cover up the top of that confetti. So basically the idea is that the confetti is completely covered in the glue. After you're all done with those steps, all you have to do is let it dry for a full 24 hours, and this is what your brand new confetti tray will look like. You can use it to store jewelry or your favorite perfumes. This Swiss leaf pillow is super simple to make, but I think it turned out so well. I love the way it looks. So for this, you're going to need a white pillowcase, some green paint, a paintbrush, a pen, and then I'm just using a faux Swiss leaf that I already had. You can definitely print one off from online and use that to trace it out. You don't have to have this necessarily. So I'm just taking some paper bags, and as a precaution, I'm putting them in the middle of the pillowcase, because if the paint bleeds through, you are going to have to like rip it apart. So I'm just taking the edge of my Swiss leaf and tracing it on. This doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm taking it again and tracing it on the other side. Again, just like the edge of it. And then on the bottom, I'm just doing a very small portion of the Swiss leaf. So I just traced that on. You can do it however you want. And then I'm going in with some green paint, and you're just going to add 1 layer of green paint. You can add 2 layers if you personally want to cover up the pen marks. However, once the green paint is over the pen marks, it almost looks like they're intentional. So after it's dried, all you have to do is go ahead and remove those paper bags, and you have your brand new Swiss leaf pillow. I absolutely love the way this turned out. I think this is my new favorite pillow. This floating feather lamp is a great way to spice up any plain lamp or lampshade. For this, you're just going to need a plain white lampshade. All these items will be linked down below. This one in particular is from Target. Some feathers, scissors, clear string, and lastly, a hot glue gun. So basically what I'm doing here is just taking the clear string and measuring out exactly how much of it I think I'm going to need for this. You can do different staggering layers, or you can make everything even. So I just snipped out as much as I needed. Now this part is really important. Make sure you're not gluing the string anywhere near where the light bulb is going to be, because it will create a fire hazard. So you want to stay as close to the edge as possible. That way the actual strings are nowhere near the actual light bulb. So for this, I just hot glued the strings to the top edges as I showed you there, and then I hot glued the feathers just to the ends of those strings, and I went ahead and just snipped off any excess string that was left over. I added about 6 feathers. You can add as many as you'd like, but I felt like 6 was just the perfect amount, not too many. That's what it'll look like from the top. As you see, nothing is hitting any of the light bulbs, and you're all done with your new feathered lamp. Next up is this faux concrete jewelry holder, which is a great alternative to real concrete because, believe it or not, sometimes when you use real concrete, you have to be careful because it can create minor scratches to your jewelry. So for this, you're going to need a paper mache cone, a paintbrush, some painter's tape. I'm using a white acrylic paint, and then I'm using this faux concrete cement-like paint. I will also link all this down below. Before this, you're just going to need some of that faux concrete paint and some water, and you just kind of dab your paintbrush into the water and then dab on the paint. As you can see here, it does have a concrete-like look to it, which is really great. So you want to complete that same process all over your paper mache cone. Then I just took some painter's tape and made a simple triangle just to add some design to it. I added my white acrylic paint and then I quickly removed my painter's tape. After you let it dry, you are all done with your new jewelry holder. So those were my 5 DIYs. I hope you enjoyed them. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Give this video a big thumbs up and check out my channel for more DIYs. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!